keeping the program moving. Next is 5 minutes with Dr. John and then Rizwa. So John, take us over.
All right. In this 5 minutes, what I'd like to cover is the amazing token explosion that we think is going to happen in the context of the adoption of generative AI and what kind of implications that might have for capital substitution for labor. And this is part of a bottoms-up total cost of ownership analysis that we're doing for a client. And so this has got, I think, broader implications. And I'll tell you the conclusion right now, which is that we're going to see an amazing growth in tokens. We're going to see lots of activities, WINS work activities, which is why I put the WINS framework back up here again. And when you see that it's a couple orders of magnitude difference in cost, you'll start to get a feel for just how rapid this adoption may be. Okay, if we go to the next one. So here's the model that we're working on. So you have people, devices, agents, and quality of tokens, which is going to be very big, and then mode of interaction. These all drive token use. And for those of you remember, tokens are about 1.3, 1.4 times as many as words. So if you feed in 100 words, you get back about 130, 140 tokens if you're using words and also with images and so forth. So scenario one is OpenAI. This is consumption pricing. This is per token. Scenario two is Llama 3.1 on AWS. Scenario three is Llama 3.1 on premise with no vendor support. And scenario four is vendor support. Okay. Next, please. To make this real, what we did is we said there's about 50,000 bankers at JP Morgan Chase. About 300,000 plus people who work there. Of those bankers get paid about $150,000 a year, 150, 175,000 fully loaded. And then what we did in the model is say, okay, if you have 50% of daily users, 200 days in the year that they work, and then 100,000 tokens per daily user, and then tokens in millions that are actually generated by those 50,000 bankers, 50%, 50. So let me just give you an idea. If you use generative AI to monitor a phone call, people generally speak between 100 and 150 words per minute in a conversation. So, and then you put that in a 20-minute phone call, that's 2,000 to 3,000 tokens per minute. And then if you have duplex, you say it's also going to analyze it and push stuff out, that is then going to create more. So 7,500 to 10,000 tokens per 20-minute phone call, let's say, and then roughly 30 to 60,000 per hour. And an 8-hour day, you start to get somewhere between 150 and 250,000 tokens per day by banker if you simply automate the phone conversations. Then you have meetings; those have similar numbers. Then you have review of documents. 5,000 word documents with a 5,000 word output and so forth. You can easily get to 100,000 tokens per day per user. Okay. And then more adoption, 50% increase, which is what we saw in the Wharton study over the year 225. We think these are very conservative. Paul, if you go to the next one. What does this mean? There are three scenarios here. This is cost on the left-hand side. So this is total cost for ownership for a year. The blue is Llama, red is Azure, on-premise Llama, and then total cost of ownership. And if you go over to the right, you see incredible growth. The total cost of ownership, the ability to own your own intelligence, save some money by bringing it inside, looks promising. Let's go to the next scenario. What's important here, though, is you have unbelievable token use and quality going up, but you also have standard tokens, legacy tokens going down. So this is analysis done by A16Z that shows that there's been 6 orders of magnitude cheaper in terms of tokens at the 3.5 chat level. So if you go back to November 2022, when it came out, those tokens are now 100,000 times cheaper than they were in November 2022. If you roll that into the model, go to the next one, Paul. What you see is that the on-premise stuff is not as differentially better. In fact, when you get larger volumes, as you get cheaper tokens, you have more servers, so it starts to get a little bit more expensive. And so that's if we go to the next one, if you will, Paul. And then in here, what I did is I put a much bigger assumption of the use of agents, because if bankers are using 100 to 200,000 tokens a day, agents can use hundreds of thousands of tokens per hour or more. Alden de Rosario's launched an agent that you can use, and it will go work for half an hour. He's one of our community here, and that uses about 250,000 tokens a half hour. So if we go to the next one and final, uh, I want to make you aware of these different things. If you the labor substitution is going to be huge, because if you look at automating the work of a banker and you take that $150,000 salary and you turn that into tokens of the best quality tokens, the highest cost, highest quality, you have a token budget that turns into a token budget of 20 million tokens a day. The analysis you can see here says, well, a really active banker may only use 500,000 or 2 million or 5 million a day, even with agents. So we're going to see a fantastic substitution of capital for labor. And then we believe this is just the beginning of a token explosion as we add more and more functionality and more agents helping to do that. And it's going to be a wild ride as organizations reconfigure themselves with this new form of automation.